you think that I'm an answer if you ain't mine? Even if you call me up.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Atreus. Welcome to another Ninjas and Nerds news segment. If you want to be a real ninja, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on Twitter, Atreus_Max. But let's go ahead and jump right into what today's issue is. The real problem with the MCU Phase 4 was us, according to Screen Rant. Don't know why I'm giving them a click, but we're going to read this. This is my first time reading this, but I thought this was interesting. Be good to like react to it together, because this should be interesting. The MCU's Phase 4 has been subject to plenty of criticism over the last several years, but not all of the complaints surrounding this era of the franchise are warranted. In fact, looking at the MCU's fourth phase in hindsight may reveal that some harsh takes on the films and series therein weren't always accurate, as the long-running superhero franchise gears up for the inception of Phase 5 with next year's Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. It may require resetting of expectations to keep up with the latest Marvel films. Okay? The fourth phase of the MCU inherited a difficult challenge in picking up the pieces of the well-received Infinity Saga. Fair. Which has been widely regarded as a golden age for superhero movies, while Phase 4 attempted to improve on the finale of Infinity War and Endgame. Its projects were often belittled in comparison to prior films in the franchise. The constant pushback and negative reception in the response to Phase 4 have led some to consider it the worst phase so far in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, with some even going so far as to claim that Marvel has lost its magic touch. It has. Why MCU Phase 4 was so divisive? Phase 4 has proven to be quite divisive for several distinct reasons, contributing to the notion that the MCU has dipped in quality or lost its direction. Unfortunately, some of the criticism was objectively unjustified when it took the forms of problems with the franchise's expanding representation, with female-led projects like She-Hulk and Mrs. Marvel being review-bombed mere seconds after their premiere. Okay, so I should have known you was going to lead in with this. You full of shit. You full of shit, because quite frankly, nobody watched those shows. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Nobody watched it, especially not Mrs. Marvel. So you can complain that it was review bombed, but nobody watched it. It was one of the lowest viewed Marvel shows or films ever. So you can complain about it being review bombed, but nobody was interested in watching it, not even the target demographic. So, and then She-Hulk was garbage, bro. Like, stop it. Y'all keep trying to prop She-Hulk up like it was some type of masterpiece. She-Hulk was garbage. Matter of fact, without Googling, and you ain't got to answer this because I know you're going to lie about it, but without Googling, you can't even tell me She-Hulk's best friend's name. You can't tell me her boss name. You can't tell me the main antagonist's name. And that's about it. You couldn't tell me. Without Googling, you wouldn't be able to tell me because you don't know any of the characters, because you don't really care. The show is trash anyway. Let's keep reading. While review bombers may be a vocal minority, that's cap, their loud backlash to increasingly diverse titles can't be denied as a major contributing factor to the Phase 4 divisive nature, which will undoubtedly continue as Phase 5 and 6 double down on Marvel's efforts to increase representation in titles. So here's the thing. You want to talk about them being the vocal minority. If they're the vocal minority, why are none of the movies reaching $1 billion? Why was Spider-Man the only movie that didn't have all this representation nonsense? You know, being all diverse and for whatever reason. Why was that, what, 2 billion? Something close to that? But everything else didn't. Doctor Strange failed. Well, it didn't fail, but it didn't reach $1 billion. We'll see. Anyway, other Phase 4 complaints take a far less toxic approach to critique the current era of MCU. A common point of contention has been the seemingly lack of direction therein, as many recent titles don't seem to tie in to an overarching story, leaving it unclear how major characters like Doctor Strange fit into the multiverse saga as a whole. The increased number of Marvel titles each year contributed to this issue, agreed, with a wider range of stories being told, not always coinciding with the ongoing theme of the multiverse itself. This could lead to disenfranchisement and a belief that Phase 4's story is moving too slowly. That I agree with. You got all of these titles. So the first thing that kicked off the multiverse saga, Phase 4, was WandaVision. Okay, that's one thing. Then you moved into Captain America and the Winter Soldier. I mean, you don't really need that to tie in with everything, I suppose, but it had nothing to do with anything. Then you went into Loki. Okay, then you started revving up the multiverse stuff. Then you got into the What If series. You started revving up the multiverse stuff. Then you get into Shang-Chi. Okay, more into the multiverse stuff. Well, multiverse stuff, absolutely. Then you got into the Eternals. Not really multiverse, more like space stuff. And then you went into I forgot what was after that. Oh, Spider-Man, more multiverse stuff. And then you had Moon Knight, had nothing to do with nothing. You had Hawkeye, had nothing to do with nothing. You had Doctor Strange, multiverse stuff. But what did we recently have? Black Panther had nothing to do with multiverse stuff. So, I mean, Thor: Love and Thunder had nothing to do with multiverse stuff. While there is no denying that Phase 4 is the most divisive in the MCU, claiming that it is the worst phase yet is painting with far too broad a brush. It is the worst. If Phase 1, 2, and 3 everybody agreed is good and nobody likes Phase 4, it's the worst one. Despite many claims that Marvel projects have dipped in quality, the actual statistics for critical approval don't completely agree. Though the Rotten Tomatoes scores for Thor: Love and Thunder and certain other projects are lower than many other MCU titles, the average Rotten Tomatoes score for Phase 4's movies and series is an impressive 84%, superseding the averages from both Phases 1 and 2. Only Phase 3's average stands slightly higher. Well, first of all, you can say that, but we all know a lot of those only got boosted for diversity. You can't sit here and tell me the Black Panther movie was good. Nobody. Come on, bro. Come on, like what are we doing? The audience's ratings, however, are a different story, with many of Marvel's lowest scores coming from Phase 4, though these numbers are tenuous considering the destructive nature of review bombing, which has made it nearly impossible to assert accurate fan approval for titles like Stop it. Just stop it. You keep trying to act like people are reviewing. The fans don't like this bullshit. You can't be more crystal clear than that. The fans just don't like it. And you trying to dismiss it, it's review bombing. Then why isn't it selling? Why is merchandise down? Why is toy sales down? Because nobody likes it. You can dismiss it as review bombing all you want to, but nobody's buying the toys. Nobody's buying the merch. Nobody's rewatching it. Who has rewatched Thor on Disney Plus? Don't worry, I'll wait. Nobody's watched it because it's garbage. Phase 4 also included projects like Spider-Man: No Way Home, Loki, and Werewolf by Night. All good projects, which are hailed as some of Marvel's greatest projects of all time. That's cap. No Way Home, maybe. Werewolf by Night, maybe. But Loki, it was good, but it wasn't that damn good. Criticisms regarding Phase 4's seemingly lack of direction must also be held in comparison to previous phases. As the first entry in the multiverse saga, Phase 4 is most comparable to Phase 1 of the MCU, the franchise's foundation. Phase 4 did not have the crossover finale that Phase 1 had, but has done more for its respective saga in less time. After 2 years, Phase 4 has already introduced the multiverse saga's main villain, set up Avengers Secret Wars, and introduced heroes to... What the fuck are you talking about? How fan expectations shape the biggest problem with Phase 4 hasn't been its quality or lack of interconnectivity, but rather the incredibly lofty expectations that plague each project. For example, WandaVision, one of the MCU's best Disney Plus series, was overshadowed by running rumors that the show would reintroduce Quicksilver, set up the X-Men and to feature a cameo from the villainous Mephisto. That's their problem, though. They're the ones that said there was going to be a Luke Skywalker type cameo in there. So how is that the fans' fault? A cameo from the villainous Mephisto. Now that was definitely the fans' fault. That was definitely. Similarly, plot predictions for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness were more akin to that of Secret Wars, making the actual movie feel smaller and less satisfying in comparison. Time and time again, rumors led to disappointment when building blocks in the multiverse saga didn't carry the same weight as Avengers level movies. Moreover, Phase 4 can often feel slower as it follows the non-stop thrills of Phase 3, which was the climactic act in the 3-act story structure of the Infinity Saga. Phase 4 can't be compared to Phase 3's pace because each was designed for a completely different purpose. For whatever. I think we're done here. So here's what I'll grant you. What I will grant you is that the MCU has two problems. One is the fans' fault. Our expectations did get a little out of whack. Now, I think a lot of this has to do with like YouTubers, right? Like I'll tell you, I don't watch Marvel or comic book YouTubers anymore. Like Comic Books Explained, heavy spoilers, everything always, emergency awesome, especially not that funny. Because what they do is a trailer drops, you watch the trailer, you get hyped, you go and watch them break down every frame of the shit, and they start telling you all of these theories and possibilities and whoop-de-whoop-de-woo. And before you know it, you done bust a whole Marvel nut on yourself, thinking you finna get Galactus versus Superman versus Darkseid versus Invincible versus like The Boys, The Rock, The Fast and the Furious, the damn Incredibles. You're like, holy. And then you get to the movie and it's like, mwah. And so it destroyed it. The YouTubers contribute to hyping up your expectations, and then when you actually see the movie, it's like holy because I think one of the directors for was it WandaVision? It might have been WandaVision, I don't know. But they started realizing in the middle of the show that they wasn't going to be able to live up to fan expectations because fans were like expecting like Mephisto or something like that. And they knew right away they wasn't going to be able to live up to that. But the second problem is has nothing to do with the fans and everything to do with the fact that Marvel has focused more on representation as opposed to telling a good story. Yes. That is the biggest problem. You try to blame it on the fans. You try to blame it on review bombing all you want to. But Marvel has made it a point that we want to be more diverse. We want to have more women. We want to have more people of color. We want to have more LGBTQ representation. And the plot has suffered because of it. Look at She-Hulk, bro. How did the Infinity Saga make money? By giving the fans what they wanted. In this phase, in the multiverse saga, Kevin Feige has focused more on giving the fans what the damn writers want. How else do you explain She-Hulk, where the freaking director, the showrunner's primary goal was trolling the audience? But you want people to go out and buy merchandise and toys. I'll smoke a pipe of crack right now if you can show me a large number of middle-aged women buying their daughter She-Hulk toys. Show it to me. It ain't happening because nobody cares. You had an opportunity to bring She-Hulk to the silver screen in the way that people like, but you decided to troll it. You decided it was more important to troll the incels than telling a good story. Because you can't even tell me what the story of She-Hulk was about. Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments. I'll talk to y'all a little bit later.
Let's go. Hey. Beat that thing down like you started attention, my baby. You had some plans with your man, just tell him to cancel, my baby.